Chrono Odyssey, a name that hit the MMORPG scene like a thunderclap. It's powered by UE5 and dripping with visual fidelity. The game promises a dynamic world with some time manipulation and combat in a pretty rich fantasy setting that feels handcrafted. But now, I've put some serious time into the recent test. So today, I'm here to tell you what lives up to the hype, what falls flat, and whether this MMO is worth your time, especially if you're an MMO veteran of games like New World. Alright, let's get into it. First off, Chrono Odyssey makes one hell of a first impression. The world is stunning, like genuinely breathtaking. You can really see UE5 shine here, from the seasonal zones to the atmospheric lighting sweeping across. Character customization, extremely detailed. You can fine tune everything from jaw depth to eyelash curl. As you jump into the world, you start to run around and you can definitely tell that combat feels deliberate. Think Souls-like. Good MMO fluidity though. It is responsive with dodging and parrying, managing cooldowns. It has a satisfying rhythm. It's not revolutionary though, but it's solid, very solid. And as you start to explore the world, a fun nod to an old school dungeon crawler like Diablo. You smash barrels and containers along your travels, sometimes finding potions, coins, or some hidden loot. It's a small thing, but those little dopamine bursts really elevate the feeling of a game. One of the best ways to level that I found in Chrono Odyssey, along with a very fun system, and they really nailed it, was the bounty board system. So as you start accepting these bounties and tracking down your enemies, the bounties are more than just a filler. They scale with your level and they lead you to new zones. You also find some elite enemies around there, definitely some rare crafting materials. The really nice touch about the bounty board system was the fact that I got to slit his head off and keep it in a little pouch next to me as I walked back to town collecting my gear, gold, and resources that they gave me for getting the kill quest. Unlike New World's faction quests, which often felt like uninspired fetch errands, Chrono Odyssey's bounty board system generally felt engaging. Chrono Odyssey's bounty system felt curated. There was enough variety and pacing, an incentive to keep it relevant through the leveling process and maybe even into the light endgame. As we started to explore the world more and moved into the town and we're working on our gathering and our crafting, we definitely noticed a New World vibe. If you've played it before, you're gonna feel a lot of very familiar energy in Chrono Odyssey. Gathering and crafting systems very much look copy and pasted. You chop wood, skin animals, mine rocks, the exact same feel. You'll craft gear and potion at tiered stations in town, just like you did in Eternum. To be fair, it's a system that works, but it certainly doesn't innovate on anything. And by the time you're 15 to 20 hours in, you're going to start asking, am I really doing anything different here? For better or worse, safe, yes, but it might wear thin on especially New World veterans. So around the 20-hour mark, the crack begins to show. Performance issues crop up, FPS starts to dip a little bit, rubber banding in high density areas. Animation will stutter, the quest design starts to get a little repetitive. You'll find yourself running around the same type of bounty 3 times in a row before hitting the same respawn timer on a mini-boss. Now, the endgame's going to include some raids and world bosses, some seasonal siege events, an endless dungeon mode called the Mythic Labyrinth. These are pretty well designed in theory, but in practice they feel kinda light. There's not enough mechanical diversity in bosses or environmental interaction to keep the grind fresh. It's all really promising, but also unfinished, and the whole genre where longevity is everything, that's a big problem. Now, as we revisit leveling real quick, here's something important that might have been overlooked: the leveling experience. In this beta, leveling felt fast. Suspiciously fast. Now, maybe that's intentional for the test like I said before, but if this is the actual leveling curve at launch, it could mean that the game burns out literally around the 25 to 30 hour mark. And when that happens, without enough in-game content to back it up, players will leave. And then here's your next problem. As of this video, they had spun up nearly 100 servers. So as the current developer statements and technical showcases, Chrono Odyssey servers are expected to support several thousand concurrent players. Call me skeptical, but I would say maybe 2,000 at most. So between the high amount of players that you're going to have at launch and always dip out after a short period of time. Now, with all those new servers from the players at launch and a PvE heavy game where people are starting to get tired of the content and not much PvP, players are going to start to leave. And when that happens, of course, you're going to have server merges. I'd be surprised if in the end this has more than 5 servers. as the communities start to consolidate, which might not be that big of a deal in this type of game. I do feel that you'll likely get your money's worth early on. It is fun, it's immersive, and polished on the surface, but don't go in expecting a game that's going to hold your attention for 6 months unless big content patches hit quickly. And when players start to leave, let's address the elephant in the room, Kakao Game. Kakao was the Western publisher of Black Desert Online, and during that time the game had a case study in pay-to-win monetization. Costumes turned into silver, enhancement scrolls bought with real money, convenience items that never gave serious advantages. Now in Chrono Odyssey we've already seen signs of a cash shop structure, battle pass, and there's no clear messaging about whether the game will stick to its cosmetic only, or if it'll just lean into boosts or currencies or gear enhancement items. And given Kakao's history with BDO and Arcade, I'm skeptical, very skeptical. This is the kind of publisher that puts monetization above longevity. If they lean into the same direction again, Chrono Odyssey could quickly turn from a promising MMO into a cash shop trap. So now what you've been waiting for, my closing thoughts and final verdict of the game. Chrono Odyssey is a beautiful, bold, and full of potential. It has rewarding early systems, fun exploration mechanics like barrel smashing and bounty board that outshines many of its peers. But it's also a game that feels unfinished under the surface. The crafting is familiar to a fault. Content runs thin, and with Kakao pulling the strings, the specter of pay-to-win looms large. That being said, if you're looking for a new MMO to jump into for 30 to 40 hours, this might be your ride. But if you're looking for a long-term home or something that learns from the mistakes of its predecessors, you might want to hold off. My final score for the early 2-day review for Chrono Odyssey is a 6.5 out of 10. Gorgeous on the outside, shaky on the inside, and uncertain about the future. Thanks for watching everybody, and if you found this helpful, consider liking and subscribing or sharing it with your guild. I'm a brand new channel and every bit of your support helps. If you've tried the game yourself, drop your impressions in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed this take, stay tuned for more fresh reviews on PC games. Thanks for coming back to the Hidden Dagger Inn, and as always, may your caravans find safe passage. Take care all.